Hello, Hot Rod fans, it's Lee here. Today, the Third Wave Roadster is gonna get shortened. Okay, so for those of you who have never watched this channel before, this is the Third Wave Roadster. This is my very low dollar, traditional inspired Roadster pickup build. In the last video we did on this, we channeled this Model A box 3 inches to match a 3-inch channel on the cab. So we left off on that with, should I shorten the box or leave it long? I asked you guys for your comments and I got lots of great feedback on that, so thank you very much, I appreciate it. A lot of people suggested to cut the back down so that the tire is like the center point. So there's the same distance from the center of the tire to the front and the center of the tire to the back. And I do really like that idea. I think it can look very good. However, I do really like the long box length. It reminds me of a skateboard. However, when I built this chassis, I didn't have a box yet. So I built the chassis to stock Model A dimensions, stock Model A wheelbase basically. And when I mounted the engine, transmission, and the body, rather than cut the firewall to fit the Chevrolet engine, I moved the body back 4.5 inches. So before I had this box, like I said, I did all this before I had the box. So I was just going to build a box to whatever dimensions I wanted. It didn't matter about proportions because I could just make it however I wanted. However, since finding an original Model A box, which I prefer, I put it on there, and now with everything moved back, the wheels are not centered in the correct spot on the box. And it looks really dumpy in the back. So I'm going to shorten it, but I'm only going to shorten it a little bit. Let me show you what I'm going to do here. You see this little dip in the body line right here? That is supposed to line up with the center of the axle. And this one, as you can see, does not. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut 4.5 inches out of here to slide this forward. And what that will do, will move this so that it's in line with the axle. And hopefully that will still give it kind of the long box look, but keep it proportionate still and kind of looking like it's supposed to be. The other reason I'm going to take that section, that 4.5 inch section out of here, rather than say just chop 4.5 inches out of the back, is because this is already all cut out to go around the axle and the shock and everything. The amount of cutting and welding is significantly less. I just have to cut basically from here to here and make one weld there. Whereas if I have to weld back here, not only do I have to go through all of this and make sure that these body lines here line up, I also have to go through all of this. So by doing it over there, just considerably less work. Also, if for whatever reason the welding and the body work and stuff doesn't quite work out, most of it will be hidden by the tire. So it won't be as like in your face if something goes weird. So anyways, that is the plan for today. We're going to try to shorten this up, see how it looks, maybe get some mounts built because it's just sitting on jack stands at the back and little pieces of tubing up front here. But we'll just focus on getting it shortened for now, and if that gets done, that's kind of a bonus. So anyways, let's get to it. Doing the layout right now. The first thing I did was took a square, put it right up in here, and marked the center line. This will be my axle center line. Then I just took a DA with some 80 grit and gave this a quick sand. It's got a lot of scale on it still. It probably should be sandblasted, but this is low budget, so we just sanded it. And all that was to give it a nice smooth surface to work on. I just laid out some tape approximately where my cuts are going to be. The reason I put tape down is so that I can draw on it with a pen, a Sharpie, or like this is a grease pencil right here. They're just not precise enough for this kind of stuff, because I mean the more accurate you can make your cut, the nicer time you're going to have welding it back together. So we're going to once again put this square up in here to get our line nice and straight. This first line doesn't really matter where it is. I picked this particular spot because there's a little kerchoink right here, and if we can get that, cut that part out, then we don't have to worry about fixing that in the future. So let's make our mark right there. Holding the square nice and tight, just like that. And I'll go on this side here. Get a mark in there. Mark in there. We might have to transfer our mark to the other side for this part just because I can't get in there to draw. So there's our first mark. That's going to be our first cut. Now we just have to measure from this line down 4.5 inches and we can make our second cut. To make that, I'm just going to use just a simple ruler here. We will put our line on 4.5 inches. 4.5 inches is right on the line that we just drew. And I can make a mark there. Go down another spot. 4.5 inches. Make sure that whatever part of the line, if you're on the line or above the line or below the line, just make sure that you're consistent all the way through so that this bottom line ends up in the same spot every time. 4.5 right there. Get right into the corner here, right into the ditch. Do that again here. Okay, now we'll take our straight edge again, or not our straight edge, our square, and line this up in here. Oh yeah, they're all in the same spot. Perfect. That means we can draw straight. Okay, that's going to be cut line number 2. That's 4.5 inches, so when these come back together, it should be 4.5 inches shorter, in theory. So I'll clean this up a little bit, finish it off all the way, and then make our marks to the other side, and then we can cut it.
We're ready to cut now, which is probably going to be the most awkward part about this. I think what I'm going to do is cut through like 90% of this and 90% of that, then flip it over and cut through 90% on the other side, and that way it won't like be flopping around as we're cutting. I think that'll work. I don't know. We'll wing it. I also marked 4.5 inches back from here. That is our clearance spot for the rear spring hangers here, as well as the shock as well. This square where the shock goes in and through is going to have to move back as well. So that's what those are. So let's try this and see what happens. One thing that's really important when you do this is you see the line right here, and you see how I cut on the inside of the line all the way through. You gotta really take into consideration that when you're doing this, because your blade is like 1/8 of an inch, well not quite, 1/16 of an inch thick. So if you cut on the line and then on the line, you're gonna be 1/8 of an inch wider than you originally planned. So always make sure you cut on the inside of your line.
Cool, that cut apart pretty good. Let's see how it lines up. I think I can live with that. A little bit of a burr there we got to take off, and then that should fit nice. This side fits pretty nice. I think I'm just going to clean it up a little bit and then tack it back together. Want to see what it looks like from your side. Oh yeah. Hopefully that doesn't look weird. I guess we'll find out when we put it on. It might be a little bit weird in here. Something got dropped on this side at one time. You know, like real coach builder or whatever probably would have repaired this first before cutting it out, but I don't care about that. I just want to go do burnouts. Got it all tacked up now. I took a long piece of tubing and clamped it along there just to kind of make sure that it's not like that or anything. Keep it nice and straight. And we got our pretty even gap all the way along. I got some vice grips down here. I got some vice grips holding this edge flush. This side, same kind of thing. It's all clamped together. So I'm gonna put a couple tack welds on this side to get this side situated, then move this bar over to that side. I don't know how effective it'll be with that little dip in there. I did measure it front to back and cross and everything, and it's currently a 1/16 of an inch out, which I can live with. It was probably more than that to start with. Yeah, let's tack it together. I'm just going to use the MIG here. It's got some 024 or 023 wire in it. Small wire for sheet metal. It would probably be better to TIG this because then I could plenish that out a bit later. But to be honest with you, I'm not going to plenish it out. So why worry about it? Okay, I'm going to tack the crucial points here. I'll do a tack on top here, a tack right on that seam, and then a tack at the bottom, and then this I can manipulate it as I go to get it nice and straight. You want it like that. You don't want it like that. You don't want it like that. You want it as straight as possible. Okay, there's one. Actually, I'm gonna see if I can get this in here. Yeah. That's better. And then one more down here. Okay, now I might take this bar off and go do the same on that side. Both sides are tacked in now. I spent a lot of time making sure that this was as flush as possible before welding it, just because the nicer you can make all this, the easier it'll be to weld, the less warpage you'll have, the less grinding you'll have. I got these vice grips here that have just welded pieces of sheet metal to them to kind of make a nice even clamping surface so that you can slide it down on there like so, and it holds them flush. Use that and just a little bit of hammer and dolly to manipulate them. It's really easy to manipulate it once you get a couple tacks in there and you start to get some heat in it. The metal moves nicer. So I'm gonna go ahead and I think weld this up now on both sides here. Then we can trim this little section here and put it back on and see what it looks like. All right, it's all welded up, ground down, cut the axle pieces. Let's see how it fits. Hopefully it fits okay. I was thinking as I was grinding that down, I was like, I probably should have mocked it up before I welded everything. Took a bit of a gamble on that, but I think it'll be okay. All right, oh, there we go. Get the balance point. This thing's getting light enough now that it's like a one-person job to put it on. Except for, I forgot my jack stands for the back. Hold up. All right, let's try this again. Now that we've got everything we need. So that's gotta go in that way a little bit. About like so. There's one end. There's the other end. Still isn't where it needs to be. There we go. I think we're pretty close. Oh, we fell off the tubing on this side. Okay, how's that look? Stand back and take a gander at it. Okay, that's better. I think I can live with that. Let's do a walk around here. Yeah, I think that's okay. It's shorter than it was, but it still kind of has that long box look that I originally wanted. Yeah. Okay, maybe we should build some motor mounts now. Not motor mounts. Box mounts. So as I'm sure you figured out by now, this box is pretty rough. It's bowed this way, the front's all hammered, that side's crunched. So naturally, it's not square. In fact, it was like an inch off. So what I've done is I took three pieces of 1/8 inch plate, making 3/8 of an inch, and clamped it here, clamped it there, making the back of the cab and the box 3/8 of an inch apart. I then squared it up so that this distance from here to here is the same on both sides, and clamped this end down. So that end is essentially symmetrical with the cab. Then I got creative back here and used this ratchet strap to pull the back end over, and I have it square now. The distance from here to here and here to here is the same. I cross measured it, and it's not exact, but it's close enough. Probably closer than Henry Ford would have ever had it. I took the angle finder there and I went across this way, and that way at the back. Plus, I took the profile off the top of the door and the B-pillar and did it on that side. This side, because it's got that little kerchow in there, I took a piece of tubing across the top and made that so that it's square, it's straight. Probably shouldn't have to force it, but I don't care. It's fine. So now I took a piece of tubing, 1x1 tubing, and cut it to the same length as the inside of the box rails here. And I have it squared up on the frame rails here. It is squared up. Let me grab this little guy here. So if we take this and get the the angle. Hold on. Stand by. Okay, there we go. Okay, we got our angle on there. We take that over to this side, and we're in the same ballpark. Flip that around this way, and we're there again. So that means that our piece of tubing we laid in there is square with the box. Everything's square. You're going to drill through here into the frame rail, then tap the frame rails, just like we did when we channeled the front. So then that piece of tubing will bolt down. Once it's bolted down, then I'm going to weld it up there on both sides, and probably do another one up here to hold the front, and probably a third one across the back here, and that way I do have like a surface to mount a floor to. I won't be able to do all of that today because this is the only piece of tubing I have left. So I think we'll get that in there, and then we'll have to continue on when I have more tubing. Those are drilled out. I drilled, so it's tapped to 5/16, but I drilled these out to 3/8. Just, oh, I need a longer bolt. Hold on a minute. All right, let's try this bolt. There we go, that's better. So as I was saying, I drilled these out to, or they're tapped to 5/16, but I drilled tubing out to 3/8 just because then you got a little bit of wiggle room when you're putting this thing together, which we need right now. Go that way a bit. Okay, that should line up. So I'm going to snug this down and then pull the welder around and weld that up. There's one side. And almost two sides. Cool. Okay, let's see if I take the strap off now, it stays in place. I think it did. I think we're okay. Let's grab a tape measure. Go from that side of the box to 37.5 to the inside of the frame rail there. And that side over to here, 37.5. I can live with that. Okay, I think the back is secure now. We could probably pull these jack stands out. Ah, look at that. So I still got the clamps holding the front because we've got to get some more tubing for that. But it's on there now. Cool. All right, there we have our box shortened, our box height set. We just got a couple more mounts to build, but we got to get some more tubing for that. And I don't have time to do that today. I just got a text message that we got dinner reservations at 5 o'clock, which is in like an hour and a bit. Our good friend Vanessa just got a big promotion at work, so we're going out for dinner. It'll probably be a little bit before we get back on this project here. We're heading out on the road right away. In fact, on Wednesday, today is Friday, Wednesday, we're leaving with Brown Sugar and the Roadster, and we're going out on the road for 3 weeks. We're going to Hot Rod-A-Rama first in Pendleton, Oregon, a big traditional hot rod show. After that, we've got a week to kill where Shannon and Doris and I are just going to do some camping. And then we are heading to Bonneville for Speed Week. We're going to be in Speed Week for probably not the full week, but for at least half of the week. And then we're going to come back home after that. So yeah, if you are attending any of those events, please stop and say hi if you run into us. The whole reason I did the come and swap on Brown Sugar was for this trip. So it'll kind of be like a the inaugural road trip with that. So I'm very much looking forward to that. Anyways, make sure you hit up the website, lgspeedcustom.com. We got hot rod shirts and hot rod parts and all that, as well as check out the Cavalleros.com and check out all their merch, grab some stuff from them. Cavalleros are a local Victoria surf band that do all the background music for our videos. So make sure you check out them and support them. And yeah, maybe we'll see you on the road. If not, then I guess whenever we get back to the shop, we'll continue on with this. So thanks for watching.
I like it.